Hey everyone, this is Jack. This is going to be a bar-by-bar review for the S&P 500 futures contract for today, Thursday, May 28th, 2026. You can see my comments about the day and chart markup there. On the daily chart, we've been in a strong bull trend. We got a pullback. We've held above the moving average, and it appears we have some sort of double bottom here, and we've been rallying for the last week or so. Yesterday was a trading range day, and so was the prior two trading days. So it was very likely that today the bulls will try to get trend resumption, but ultimately it's likely that we'll form some variant of a trading range because the market has inertia, and what it's been doing it is likely to continue doing. But we are also in a strong rally, so it's likely that we'll find buyers below and try to rally to a new all-time high. And we do have a buy setup. Yesterday was closing above the midpoint of the bar, so it's a buy signal. And it's likely that the bulls will try to trigger the buy and will probably make a new all-time high, possibly find more sellers up there, and the bears will look for a test down, a second leg to this, but always in long and likely more sideways to up, even if we do correct down. On the 5-minute chart, you can see the trading range yesterday, and bar 1 is opening basically in the middle of the range of yesterday. We have a small gap down. It's probable that the gap will try to close, but judging by the size and shape of bar 1, it's likely that we go at least a little bit lower. Follow through with bar 2 and a strong close. Maybe we go lower, but as with most opening ranges, we'll probably form a trading range, so there could be buyers here. We're also at the high close from the previous all-time high right here. And reversing up on bar 3, sellers near the high of 2, but a bull reversal bar, and likely more sideways here. We'll probably try to form a trading range, and if the bulls are strong enough, we can test up to the open of the day. But if they are not strong enough, we'll find sellers at and above this bar for another test down. Bar 4 reversed down, but it's a weak bar. It's basically a trading range bar, and we have a tight trading range since bar 2. So it's likely we'll continue more sideways here. And I imagine we'll try to trigger the sell, probably to find buyers not far below 3. We did not trigger the sell, and we reversed up strongly on 5. We tested up above the moving average in the open of the day, almost got above the high of the day. But we have a big tail on bar 5, so it's likely we continue to pull back here, but we do have a micro double bottom now with 2 and 4 and a strong bull bar, so it's likely that the bulls will get a second leg up even if we do pull back, so likely sideways to up here. And then bar 6, an inside bar, but a pretty strong body, a pretty strong close. And it makes me think that we're going to go higher, even if we do pull back. We're right at the moving average, so we could find sellers at and above the bar, but we probably go at least a little bit higher. And then we have a doji follow-through bar with a big tail. We broke to a new high of the day, and we have a pretty weak close inside the range of the trading range and the range of bar 5. So likely we'll pull back here. But probably bulls will look for a second leg up. Bar 8, we got a new high of the day, and we're closing right at the prior all-time high. It's likely that we're going to try to get to yesterday's close and ultimately yesterday's high if the bulls are strong enough, but there's problems with this rally. There's a lot of tails, a lot of overlap, bad follow-through, 7. So it's likely that we'll find sellers here and pull back, but I imagine we go at least a little bit higher. And then probably nobody saw bar 9 coming. We have about a 40-point bar and a new all-time high. We're even breaking above the Globex high, which was, 20 or so points higher than bar 8. So anytime you get a huge climax like this, always better to wait for the pullback and then see what the market wants to do. Very likely that we will pull back here, but very strong bull breakout, likely to go a little bit higher after we pull back. Bar 10 is a doji. We pulled back, tested the Globex high and the prior all-time high, yesterday's high, or a prior day's high. And we retested the high close. So we might have buy the close bulls disappointed with the depth of this pullback, possibly exiting their positions here. So we may find sellers at and above this bar for another push down. Buyers below 10, but pretty big bear bar, likely to go at least a little bit lower. And then a pullback on bar 12, strong inside bar, but a small bar. Maybe we go a little bit higher, but I think the market wants to pull back a little bit more. So we find sellers above 12, and now we're breaking below 11, but not by much. We have a pretty strong close on this bar, but we do have 3 pushes down for the bulls. 10, 11, and 13 could be a wedge bull flag, so we may find buyers at the close and below the bar here. And for the bears, they're hoping that by the close bulls are still trapped. We did not reach the high close after breaking out above 12, and now we have trapped stop order traders above 12, and they're hoping that this bear bar will lead to a swing down and a test into the range of the bar 9 low. But tight trading range, likely buyers not far below, and then 14, not what the bears are hoping for, no follow through, and a doji. So likely we go a little bit higher, possibly to find more sellers and the bears get a swing down, but this could turn out to be the wedge bull flag. And then bar 15, a strong bull breakout bar, closing back above the Globex high, likely to go a little bit higher, probably still in a trading range, possibly trend resumption attempt from the wedge bull flag, and you could even say a double bottom with 11 and 14, but I imagine we have more trading range price action here than trend resumption behavior. And then bar 16, we broke out above the prior bar, reversed down, and broke below it, found buyers, and reversed up. So probably a limit order market, better to sell above things and buy below things, but still always in long and still very far above the moving average. So probably more buyers below 16 and possibly at the 16 close, looking for a high, a test above the high of bar 13. 17, another strong bull bar, but a tail closing inside the range of the prior bar. We probably go at least a little bit higher, possible double top with 12, but we let out the trap stop order bulls on 16, reverse down, and now we're right back at that price. So it's likely that we could continue going higher. A deep pullback and inside bar, strong bull close on 18. Good indication that we'll probably go a little bit higher, but we may be finding sellers up here, and we may need to test down into the range of 16. And then a strong bull breakout with bar 19. Strong enough close, we're probably going to get a second leg, but this is definitely a climax, so it's likely that we'll pull back. 20, bear reversal bar, but prominent tail above and below the bar. Likely buyers not far below. I imagine we trigger the sell, but it's probably disappointing in some way. Good follow through and a stronger close. Possibly sell the close for a test down into the range of 18, the inside bar, the low of 19, the last climax. But strong enough bull breakout that there will probably be buyers on a pullback around the midpoint of the range, or possibly above the high of 13, where stop order bears are trapped. 22 did not close the gap, but looks like we found support near the high close on bar 9, and we have a bull reversal bar. Tail above the bar makes me think that we pull back a little bit more, but could be a trend resumption attempt for the bulls. And good follow through with 23. We tested the high close, pulled back a little bit, but we have a strong enough bar, strong enough close, we probably go at least a little bit higher, probably sideways to up here. And then 24, climax with a prominent tail, closing inside the range of the high of the day from 20 and the high of the day from 9. Strong enough leg, probably buyers below 24, probably buyers below 23. If we do pull back, probably sideways to up here. Bull inside bar, likely sellers not far above, and we form a trading range soon, possibly testing down into 22. But right now we're still always in long, and the market is trying to channel higher. So we'll find sellers above the highs and buyers probably in the middle of the last prior leg at a minimum, if not buyers immediately below. More follow through 26. Micro channel since 22. The first pullback likely minor, probably buyers below 24, possibly buyers below the inside bar. I imagine we go a little bit higher, but we have a little micro wedge here, so I imagine we find sellers above the high. 27, not a very good signal bar for the short, but reasonable. Probably buyers not far below. And then 28, a lot of overlap, strong enough close. Maybe we go a little bit lower, but possibly buyers at and below this bar for a test back up into 26. And that's what we have with 29. But now we have a double top. If we turn down on the following bar, we could test down into the last leg. But a tight trading range, likely buyers not far below 28. Channeling higher, another doji, another failed bull breakout of the high of the day. So I imagine we test down below 28 soon. 31 breaking out, but pulling back inside the tight trading range, so possibly buyers here and below the bar. Tight trading range is going to be hard to escape, and we're still always in long, so there's a bias to the upside in terms of the inertia in the market. Inside bar, but strong close. Reasonable setup, but tight trading range. Probably sellers not that far above 30 if we do trigger the buy, but I imagine we go sideways to up here, and then follow through, but it's small. Probably we go a little bit higher, but I imagine sellers somewhere above 30, and then 34, a climax. Possibly sellers at and above the bar, but we're likely going to go a little bit higher. And then 35. Now we have a bigger wedge top and climactic behavior. It's likely that we'll test down to the low of 34 or 35 if we start to pull back here. And 36 is a pretty good indication that we'll pull back, a strong bear reversal bar, but it's an inside bar. There's so much overlap that there's probably buyers not far below the 35 low or the 34 low, but reasonable to take the short, looking for a test down into those prices, but we're still always in long, so not a high probability short. Follow through, but a tail and a smaller bar. I imagine buyers not far below, and then 38, a bigger tail, not reaching the 34 low yet. We might have to get there or to the moving average, but looks like a pullback to me. Good bull bar, but it's probably sellers not far above the 37 high or the 38 high, around the midpoint of the last bear leg. And then 40, bears looking for a second leg down. Reasonable signal bar for the short, looking for a test down to the 39 low or into the 38 low. But we're channeling higher. We have higher highs and higher lows, so there could be buyers immediately below the bar or below the low of bar 39 at a minimum. And we have a doji follow-through bar, so that's not good for the bears. Likely we'll find buyers below the bar. 42 racing up to the high close and closing at or above that price. Likely we go at least a little bit higher, but 42 looks climactic, so I imagine sellers not far above the high of the day. And a doji follow-through bar, possible double top if we turn down, and a reasonable place to look for a second leg down for the bears. It's possible that now we form a trading range for the last part of the day. We've had a strong spike in channel, likely corrects into a trading range, testing these higher lows or possibly even all the way down here if the bears are strong enough. But so far, we don't have evidence that the bears are that strong. The best they could do is put 3 consecutive bars together, and that's the most bars they've put together all day. So it's unlikely that the reversal will get very far unless it's surprisingly strong. 44 looks pretty good. Strong close, big bar. Likely it'll pull back and get a second leg down. Follow through, still likely to pull back and get a second leg down. But now we're right near a swing point in a bull channel, so it's likely we'll find buyers at and below this bar. And then 46, breaking below the moving average, but closing a little bit above, and right near the low close on 38, so possible double bottom here if we turn up. And then a pretty good bull bar, but right around the midpoint of the prior leg. We'll probably hesitate like we did right here. And then 48, looking for trend resumption for the bears, looking for a swing down. But I imagine buyers below the 47 low, 46 low, or 38 low for a trading range. Sideways here, but a bear follow-through bar. Maybe we go a little bit lower, but not good for the bears. If we start to turn up, we could form a micro double bottom with 46 and 49. And it looks like that's what we have with 50. But now we're back at the high of a tight trading range, possibly sellers not far above. We're still always in long. We're in a spike and channel bull trend day, and now we're in a trading range. And we have pretty decent selling pressure. So it's very likely that we'll find sellers in the upper portion of the range and buyers in the lower portion of the range. And it looks like these lows are a little bit above the 38 low, so we're still channeling higher. We could easily make a new high of the day from here, so reasonable to think about buying. Weak follow through, probably buyers not far below. And then 52, testing above the high close, probably getting a new high of the day. Maybe we'll get to the Globex range midpoint, measured move up, which is not very far away. And it looks like we tested that price, pulled back. This is a spike in climax. We have a new high of the day, a doji bar at the top of a trading range. Likely that we'll find sellers at and above this bar for a test down. And then 54, good signal for the short, but weak. Probably a scalp at best, likely to pull back to the high close soon. And it looks like that's what we have here with 55, but now a micro double top if we start to turn down. So sellers here and at and above the bar most likely. 56, strong close but small bar. We probably trigger the short, but I imagine it's disappointing in some way. Good follow through, closing just above the moving average, not quite to the moving average, and not quite below 52, likely to find buyers at and below this bar. 58, bull bar, but sellers above, so probably in a tight trading range. We have 2 legs down in a bull channel. It's likely we'll find buyers at and below this bar. Inside bar and a bull bar, but tight trading range, high in the range. Maybe we go a little bit higher, but I imagine more sideways here. And then bear doji bar. Not a very strong signal for the short, but reasonable for possibly a scalp, but low probability bet. We've got support at the moving average, so likely buyers not far below 60. And then a bear bar racing to the 57 close. I imagine that we try to form a double bottom here, just like we did with 46 and 49. Maybe we have to go below 58 to find buyers, but I imagine we do find buyers soon. 62, another bear bar, 3 consecutive bars down, likely to get a second leg down, but could be a higher low in a bull channel, so probably buyers here and below the bar. Doji bull bar, probably buyers below. Sellers probably not far above. Bears looking for a second leg down, and here's their second leg, 64. Maybe we go a little bit lower, but does not look like a very strong start to a swing short. And then trend resumption attempt, possible double bottom, 49, 64. Strong bull bar, reasonable to think about buying here, but it might pull back before we rally. 66, sellers above the prior bar, and I imagine we go a little bit lower, but I also imagine a micro double bottom, 64, 66 if we turn up on the following bar. It looks like that's what we have. Second entry buy at the low of a trading range, likely a good buy, but a weak entry bar, 68, probably buyers not far below. I imagine we trigger the sell, but it's probably disappointing. Outside bar in a tight trading range, probably buyers not far below. And then 70 trying to turn up, not a very strong signal bar for the long, but reasonable context. And then good follow through, 71. It's likely that we'll try to test up into the high closes over here. And then 72 looks like buy the close rally. It's about 330. Reasonable to think about a buy the close rally happening here. We probably get a new high of the day if that's what this is. And then 73, new high of the day. Tail above the bar, 4 consecutive bars up. It's likely that we'll find sellers at and above the bar for a pullback. And then a 5th bar, but starting to get some overlap in tails. I imagine we pull back soon. 75, possibly the start of a swing short, but unlikely. Probably buyers not far below. And then possible micro double bottom with 76. I imagine buyers below. Bull reversal bar, but we tested the moving average. Probably sellers somewhere above the highs. And then 78. Nearly an inside bar, tight trading range, just above the moving average, likely buyers at and below the bar. And then outside up, 79, I imagine sideways to up into the close. And we got a new high of the day on 80, 81. So overall, interesting day, very huge climax. We've been getting a lot of big climaxes intraday. You know, you would think that a bar this big is just unlikely to happen as frequently as it is happening, but it is happening. So it's a good idea to study that behavior and understand what the market wants to do afterwards. You know, it could form a trading range and go sideways all day, and we've seen that recently. It could completely reverse and fail. We've seen that recently, or it could form a pullback in a channel, and we've seen that today and recently. So what do we do tomorrow? Probably the bulls try to get some follow through. We've got a strong bull bar on the weekly chart. Today is closing on its high, so it's likely that we pull back at least a little bit, but I imagine bulls try to get continuation here. I imagine that this trading range will be tested probably sometime tomorrow or in a few days. We spend enough time going sideways here, it'll be hard to escape that magnetic pull back into this area of agreement. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment below, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.